Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make NBA DFS content, NFL content, all the good stuff. All these videos that get posted on the subreddit, I'll have it linked down below. You can ask me questions leading up to lock about the slate. Anything you need, I will have that down below. And then if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter right here. And then as always, if you're looking for more in-depth content, where I give you guys cores for cash, GPPs, players that I'd be overweight to, optimal cores, GPP cores that I'm playing in GPPs, and then like I said, the optimal core if you want to play a bit more optimal. I give single entry cores, large field cores. I give anything you can think of. I'm in there trying to help everyone. You guys help me. Like, we're all trying to get better in the game that we love. So like really just trying to hone down on just everyone trying to get better, right? So I do props in there, sports books, prize picks. So that'll be linked down below as well. All right, let's get to my results from Monday. I didn't have a video for Thursday. I've been sick all week. Feeling a bit better today though. Once again, I had a really good day. Really good day in GPPs, really good day in cash. This is my cash lineup right here, easy cash. And then I had some, I was looking at some stats. I pulled up my results so far this year. Just absurd. 92% cash rate and double ups this year. Positive ROI in GPPs this year as well. Just absurd. It's been phenomenal. But yeah, this is my GPP lineup. I had some takes here, and I really liked my takes. Noah Brown was one of my favorite GPP plays on the slate. That almost worked out phenomenally. He caught a ball and ended at the 1 yard line, but his snaps went way up, which is what I expected. Christian Kirk was a core play for me in GPPs, only 25% owned, one of the lowest owned wide receiver plays on the slate of the main guys. Absolutely loved him. Dalton Kincaid was one of my favorite tight end plays. He was kind of lower on for a 2-game slate. Jamar Chase obviously was just a must for me. And I cored Josh Allen, Christian Kirk, Dalton Kincaid, and Jamar Chase. Worked out huge. We had a big last night on Thursday night for a few thousand. We had really good nights on Monday. I was near the top. I was top 5 in the main GPP all night long. I don't know if any of you guys saw me up there or were sweating, but I was up there all night long until the Terry McLaurin garbage touchdown. So that was a fun sweat. It's just been phenomenal. 100K winner last week, just phenomenal. This NFL season has been just great. Alrighty, guys, let's go over the slate. We're just gonna go player by player, and then I'll talk about some stacks that I like in GPPs. I'll go over cash games at the end. We're gonna try and get you guys out of here in 15 minutes or so. I'm not gonna go too in depth. I kind of pressed for time. My power has been out for hours. It just turned back on. So yeah, we're gonna get you guys out of here quick. Not gonna go too in depth here. Running low on time. It's a Friday night, so we'll get you right out in a minute. Alrighty, Saints at Atlanta. Don't like too much in this game in GPPs or cash. Derek Carr, no interest in stacks this week. Alvin Kamara, we'll keep an eye on if he's playing. I fully expect him to go here. Playing a ton of snaps, usage absurd, 26, 20, 15 attempts first 3 weeks, involved in the passing game. He's always going to be a really good running back play. Not my favorite this week, but firmly in play. We'll monitor the Olave news if he plays. I think he's a good play at 6.5K. I believe it's hamstring injuries. Keep an eye on that. My favorite play in this game, if he plays on this team, would be Olave. Just keep an eye out. If he's out, it's going to boost like guys like Rashid Shaheed. A.T. Perry also got ruled out randomly today, so just keep an eye on it. It's a mess right now. We have Taysom Hill back as well. If Olave's out, that's going to bump a guy like Taysom Hill at 3.8K. So just keep an eye on the news. I think my favorite play if he plays would be a Chris Olave, and then Alvin Kamara. He's always good, right? Always good. Not my favorite play in GPPs or cash this week, but he's firmly in play, of course. Moving on to the Falcons, don't really like Kirk stacks this week going up against the Saints. Bijan Robinson, always a great play if you're playing cash games. I think he's super safe. Snap percentage, always elite. Target market share, always elite, right? 7.4K, I think is reasonable. Just the opportunity cost at running back this week is just so massive. There's so many great running back plays on the slate. But Bijan right up there with some of the best, right? If you're playing cash, good in cash, no issues there. And a guy I like for value this week is going to be Darnell Mooney. There's actually a lot of wide receiver value this week, but his role has just been really, really good. I still think he's too cheap, given the volume, given the workload, given the ceiling that he has in GPPs, right? If he's going to continue to get 7 and 8 targets, which I don't think it'll happen, I think he'll average around that 5 to 6 target range. But at 4.4K, with the ceiling he has and the floor that he has, if he's going to get 5+ targets a game, is just unmatchable at this price point. So definitely do like Darnell Mooney at that price point. I think he's a really good value at 4.4K. Might be my favorite play. Him, Bijan on this team, and then Kyle Pitts. There were quotes that they were going to try and get him involved a bit more. If you want to buy into that, that's fine. I have a hard time going there when you have Dallas Goedert at the same price point. So yeah, main interest, Bijan Robinson and Darnell Mooney. Drake London, fine. But honestly, prefer Mooney, especially point per dollar. Let's move on. Bengals, one of my favorite GPP plays on the slate here, and I'm sure you guys can guess it. It is going to be, I believe he's sub 5%. Jamar Chase going up against Carolina. Sign me up for that. I love Jamar Chase and GPPs this week. I think Zach Moss is a really good GPP play this week. This is do or die for the Bengals, right? Sorry about that, guys. It's absolutely do or die here. Chase Brown only played, I want to say 20% of the snaps. Zach Moss got the rest. Zach Moss just played a ton, right? I'm expecting the Bengals to play from ahead here. Like I said, it's do or die, right? You can see Zach Moss just play a ton of snaps. I believe I have some of his sportsbook props as well. So 5.9K, like Zach Moss quite a bit in GPPs. Don't know if I go there in cash, but I like in GPPs. And then, of course, I have interest in Joe Burrow as a quarterback stack this week, especially with one of my favorite GPP plays on the slate, Jamar Chase. And then Mike Gesicki, I think, is a good tight end play this week as well. If you're playing cash, he's playable in cash as well. So yeah, definitely the first stack that I have interest in on this slate that we have gone over so far. And then we have to talk about the Panthers. Going to be a ton of chalk on the Panthers. I think you can get away from some of it. Let's talk it through. Andy Dalton, I think, is a good stack this week, just solely due to the price point, due to the options and the cheap price points on this team, right? Should be playing from behind, going up against the Bengals, so it's going to be good script for them. I have no issues playing Andy Dalton. I think he's a good stack this week, but let's get into the chalk. I think Chuba Hubbard is a guy I like getting away from in GPPs at his ownership. If Bengals just get up like a score too early, Carolina's just going to have to be forced to throw the ball, right? So Chuba, I think, is a guy that's going a little bit over owned in GPPs, but I think if you're playing cash games at that price point, he's going to be one of the better running back plays for cash this week. Moving on to wide receiver, I don't care what Deontay Johnson's ownership is. I don't. Just with Andy Dalton at quarterback, with Adam Thielen out, I mean, sign me up for all of Deontay. I think he's probably the best point per dollar wide receiver play on the slate. I think he looks phenomenal. And then there's other plays I like here. I like Leggett. He's a guy that can play outside. He's a guy that can play in the slot. He should be the wide receiver too, right? 3 targets. He played about 100% of the snaps after Adam Thielen went down. I like Leggett quite a bit in GPPs. I think Jonathan Mingo is a really good value. I think Tommy Tremble is one of the better tight end punts on this. Like, this Panthers team is just going to be really popular. I think the only guy that I really like at their ownership is Deontay Johnson, but like I said, this team, point per dollar, they look great at their price points. Jonathan Mingo, decent. Leggett, decent. Deontay, love. Chuba Hubbard, I'm fine taking the underweight stance in GPPs, and then Tommy Tremble, I think, is a good punt. So more, I would say, kind of taking an underweight stance for this team in GPPs outside Deontay Johnson, but yeah, can't argue if you want to play some Panther this week. I think they're all too cheap. Moving on to the Rams, going up against the Bears. Don't like the spot here. Matthew Stafford at 5.6. I will pass. No Cooper Kupp. Don't really like the wide receivers here. I think if I were to take a dart on anyone, it would be a guy like Tutu Atwell or Parkinson. Parkinson might be my favorite. He's just playing a ton of snaps right now. And then Kyren Williams, good spot for him going up against Chicago. No concerns with his snap percentage, apparently. He played 90+% of the snaps last week, had 24 attempts for a blistering 3.7 average. Had 3 touchdowns. Kind of the same with like Bijan, Alvin Kamara. I think he's a good play. There's just so many running backs that are great on this slate. And then I'll go over my favorite running back in GPPs once we get there. Then we get to another stack that I like that absolutely nobody wants this week, and that's Caleb Williams. I wouldn't necessarily double stack him, but I like Caleb stacks with like a DJ Moore or like a Romeo Dunze. I don't know if I'm saying his last name right, but like I think the price point, I think the matchup going up against the Rams, and with the ownership, involved with Caleb Williams this week. I think it's just a really good spot to buy into him at 5.6K. So I do like Caleb Williams stacks quite a bit. I don't use Sims, but I would assume the Sim Bros might have some takes on Caleb Williams this week. DeAndre Swift don't like, and then yeah, if you're playing Caleb, I like some DJ Moore, I like a Dunes. We'll keep an eye on Keenan. He's expected to go though. Cole Kmet's playing a lot more than Jared Leverett, but I don't have too much interest in both the tight ends here. If I were to play one, it would be a guy like Cole Kmet. Moving on to the Vikings. Don't really like Sam Darnold this week. No interest in the stack there. Fine with Aaron Jones. No strong takes there. JJ, kind of similar to like Jamar Chase, where I like in GPPs. Just give me Jamar Chase every single time. Addison's back as well. And then Muntz, okay. Yeah, not much on the Vikings for me this weekend. Not much on the Packers. Keep an eye on Jordan Love. Josh Jacobs, similar play to Aaron Jones for me. They're just running him into the ground, but this Vikings D has just been absolutely elite. Wide receiver, I think Jaden Reed. If Jordan Love plays, I do like Jaden Reed as 6K, but that's about it. Tucker Kraft, I think actually is a good value at tight end this week as well. Cash plays in this game, nothing for me personally. So yeah, GPPs, not much. Went with their flyers and like, Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, I think it's fine. Moving on to Jacksonville, this team, send this team to the moon. If you want to buy low on TLL stacks, that's fine, but I don't really have too much interest in anyone on this team outside of Britton Strange. I really like Strange here. He got a bit unlucky last week, had 5 targets for 2 receptions. He dropped I believe he dropped a 20-yard pass as well. Evan Ingram is out. Really like Britton Strange once again. I haven't looked at his props, but I bet his props last week. ETN, no thank you. Wide receiver, not much. So cash game plays, I think if you want to go to a guy like Strange, I think that's okay. Perfectly fine with that. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for Jacksonville. Let's move on to Houston. Let me take a look at the over-under for the total 45.5. Houston 6.5 point favorite. So Joe Mixon is expected to play, I believe. If he plays, that's going to take a guy like Cam Akers out of play. If he is out, though, lock and load Cam Akers, 5.3K. He would be great cash game play. He would be one of the best value plays on the slate. He would look great. CJ Stroud stacks this week, I think, are okay, especially with, guys like Nico. Tank Dell's out. So, like, Nico Collins is an absolute piss nuke. If you're playing cash, he's probably going to be like a cash game staple for me. I think Stephon Diggs is a really good wide receiver play. It's like Stroud doubles this week, I think, are solid. Tight end Dalton Schultz, I have no issues with. So, yeah, like Stroud stacks. Not my favorite stack on the week, but do like him. I think Nico Collins is absolute piss nuke. I think Stephon Diggs is really good. So yeah, this team looks pretty good to me. Cash game plays, like I said, I think Nico Collins probably going to be a cash game staple this week. And then keep an eye on Mixon. If Mixon's out, I think Cam Akers is going to be very, very elite once again, especially in a cash game setting. Moving on to Pittsburgh. Cash games, I think Justin Fields is pretty good this week at 5.5K going up against the Colts. If you want to play him at that price point, I have no issues with that. I think he's firmly in play for cash this week. I think Najee Harris is one of the better running back plays in the slate. I think as it stands right now, he's probably going to be a must for me in cash going up against the Colts. What is the total for this game? 40 total. Steelers are -2. No Jalen Warren. I mean, he's just getting an absolute elite amount of work. Just absolutely elite at 5.6. So as the slate stands right now, I'm probably going to be playing Najee Harris in cash. This could always change. He looks great. If you want to get away from GPPs, I think that's fine. Kind of similar to like a Chuba, but I much prefer Najee Harris to a guy like Chuba. And the guy I really like this week, I bet his props, is George Pickens. Just, oh man, phenomenal spot for him at 5.7. I really like George Pickens in GPPs. I wrote down some GPP plays that I like, since it's hard to remember some, but since I don't have a second monitor, but I really like George Pickens this week in GPPs. That's mainly it. If I were playing Justin Fields, it would either be naked or a single stack with a guy like George Pickens. And if you're doing this, you're also getting off Najee Harris chalk, which I think is a good way about going about playing Steelers stacks. Obviously, that you're leveraging some chalk there with Najee Harris. Cash game plays, yeah, Najee Harris, Justin Fields. If you want to play Justin, I think that's good as well. High floor, high ceiling. So Colts, this is Anthony Richardson. If you want to buy into the bounce back, that's fine. Steelers defense just too good. They rely on their defense to win games. So not high on anyone on this team. I think we can just move forward. Alrighty, second half of the games here. Going to Denver versus New York. I bet Bo Nix over 31.5 passing attempts, but as far as DFS goes, I will pass. The running backs, they're horrible. I will pass. Wide receiver, horrible. I will pass. Tight end, I will pass. Moving on to the Jets. Aaron Rodgers not too high on this week. I think Breece Hall is a guy that if you're playing cash games is really good. I think in GPPs, another guy that I'm fine being underweight to. When I say underweight, it doesn't mean I'm not going to play Breece Hall. It's just someone I might not be over the field on or with the field on. So if he's like 50% owned, which he's not going to be, but say I have like 20%, right? But another guy that's just usage monster, especially in the passing game. So total for this game, 39.5. Jets are 8-point favorites. Now, if you're concerned with Braylon Allen gaining snaps, especially with them being huge favorites, that's where I think you can get away from fading a really popular Breece Hall in GPPs, right? So, a guy definitely wants some underweight stances in GPPs too, personally. For me, you don't have to. I think if you're playing cash, great play. Wide receiver Garrett Wilson, tight end Conklin, I think is good. That's about it. I think, with the matchup, I think, yeah, Conklin be probably my favorite play of the receivers on the Jets. We're about to get into my favorite GPP play on the slate outside of Jamar Chase, and that is Saquon Barkley. Absolutely no one wants Saquon Barkley once again here. I told you guys I absolutely loved him up against the Saints. I absolutely love him once again here in GPPs. I'm going to have so much Saquon on Sunday. It's going to be absolute massacre. Now, I know Lane Johnson's out. That's fine. Tampa Bay is also dealing with a lot of injuries on the defensive end as well. But A.J. Brown, I expect to be out. Devontae Smith, out. Britton Covey, out. This offense, Saquon Barkley, going up against Tampa Bay, playing a ton of snaps, involved in the passing game. What, sub 10% ownership? What am I missing here? Absolutely love Saquon Barkley and GPPs, and I really like Jalen Hurts stack. So Jalen Hurts, unowned, 2% owned, 7.2K. He's going to have to do a lot more with his legs going up against the Bucs. Another stat here is the Buccaneers give up the most rushing yards to opposing quarterbacks as well. What can Jalen Hurts do? Well, he can run the ball. Love Hurts and GPPs. Definitely don't have to double him. I would just do something like this if you were playing Hurts. I love Goddard. He's one of the best tight end plays on the slate. Really like this. Really like the Eagles. Just due to ownership. I think Goddard's going to be popular, but Saquon I love. Jalen Hurts I really like. You can play him naked if you wanted to in single entry. That's fine, but I would play Goddard with him if I was playing a Hurts stack. But shocked at that Saquon ownership. Just absolutely shocked by it. Then we get to Tampa Bay. Not too high on Baker Mayfield sacks this week. I think they're fine. No thank you to Rashad White. A guy I really like here is Chris Godwin. Another guy that's not getting much ownership. His slot role is just, I'm going to keep playing him until people play him and realize what his role is like in the slot. Going up against the Eagles, good spot as well. Just way too low owned once again here. Don't really like the tight ends here. Cash game plays in this game. Dallas Goedert, if you're paying up a tight end, I think is the guy. Alrighty, let's move on. Have I missed any GPP plays that I wrote down? I don't think so. Went over DJ, Odunze, Leggett, we went over JJ, Saquon, Pickens. So yeah, let's move into the juiciest game of the week. One of my favorite games to target on the week as well, especially for stacks. Jaden Daniels, they're going to be playing from behind here. Should be forced to hopefully throw the ball more. You have Austin Eckler out. That's going to mean B-Rob's going to be involved in the pass game. He's going to have a workhorse role here. He's an absolute smash. Love him. Don't care what his ownership is. I think Terry McLaurin looks really good. I think Zach Ertz a good play this week. I think if you want to play Noah Brown as a dart in GPPs, his snap percentage went way up last week. Like I said, McCaffrey's fine. I would honestly prefer a guy like Noah Brown though. Yeah, Zach Ertz is good. Daniel's going to have some ownership with him, of course. B-Rob, really, really good. Really like Terry McLaurin. If you want to go to like a Noah Brown, that's fine. And Zach Ertz, like as well. Cash game plays, I think Jaden Daniels probably your cash game quarterback this week, but like I said, there's other guys viable. I think B-Rob is really good in cash this week, and then I think that's it for me. I think Zach Ertz is playable in a cash game setting as well. Kyler. Love. I love all these guys this week going up against Washington. Washington can't stop anyone. Love all these guys. Probably my favorite team stack on the week. Marvin Harrison, not getting much ownership. Michael Wilson, 4.2K. Really like. No Trey McBride, so you're going to get Higgins. He's a really good play at 3.1K as well. I don't know if there's just much more I can say here. I just absolutely love Kyler stacks this week. Boom, 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 or boom. Love it. Just love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Cash game plays. James Conner, I think, is good as well, especially if you think Arizona's going to be playing from ahead, which they should be. So I like James Conner too. There's so many good running back plays this week. Cash game plays. I think Elijah Higgins is, and then Jaden Daniels probably going to be your best cash game quarterback as it stands right now. And then Zach Ertz is playable as well in a cash game setting. Alrighty, last 3 games here, guys. On the Patriots, nothing. Absolutely nothing. If you want to go into like DeMar Douglas, Polk, that's fine. No, thank you. Moving on to San Francisco. So George Kittle is going to play. What that's going to do, that's going to boost a guy like Jordan Mason. George Kittle, good blocker. Could have been why he had a bit of a down game last week, but it's definitely going to help Jordan Mason a ton. Once again, he stands out as one of the best running back plays on this slate. In GPPs, if you want to take another underweight stance, I think that's okay. I have no real strong takes there. I think he looks great. Once again here, total for this game going to be abysmal if I had to guess. 40.5, 49ers 10.5 point favorites. So yeah, going to be the Mason show. Wide receiver, not much here. They're getting healthier. So really just Jordan Mason for me. Cash game plays, just Mason. All right, Kansas City going up against the Chargers. I know Mahomes, I have no issues with. I think the Chargers are going to try and do a good job of really taking away Rashee Rice in this game. No Derwin James, I believe. Yeah, he's suspended, right? Yeah, suspended. So could this possibly be the Travis Kelce blow-up spot? Could it be? I really do think the Chargers are going to try and take away Rashee Rice in this game. Could this be the Kelce spot? If I'm playing 20 lineups or 150 lineups on Sunday, I'm definitely playing some of my home stacks with Travis Kelce at 0 ownership. 0 ownership. So just throwing that out there. I think this week could finally be the Travis Kelce week, but I might just be coping a little bit. But check them out. Here's the thing. I watched some coach speak videos. They didn't give a plan on what they're going to do with running back. I do think there's a good chance Kareem Hunt gets involved. But if you want to ride the hot hand with a guy like Carson Steele and just hope to God that they give him the same snap percentage as last week and the same carries, I would really like him in GPPs if they did that. But unfortunately, with the coach speak, I do think Kareem Hunt's going to be a bit more involved. It's going to be a running back committee. So just a dart throw for me. And then, like I said, I think Rashee Rice, they're going to do everything they can to game plan for Rashee Rice, take him out of this game. So might be going a little bit over-owned in GPPs, but he's matchup proof. He's been phenomenal. No issues there. Cash game plays, Rice is fine, I suppose. Always a good cash game play. Probably going to be one of the more popular plays in cash as well, if I had to guess. I haven't really messed with some builds, but yeah, if I had to guess, if people have the money, they're going to play Rice. Nope. Pretty easy to talk about there. All right, guys, last game here. Cleveland going up against the Raiders. Don't really have interest in Watson. I think Amari Cooper's fine. No thank you to Jerry Jeudy. I think Atkins, not much on the Cleveland side. Then we get to the Raiders. So Gardner Minshew, don't really like this game overall as far as pace goes. It's going to be a very, very slow, draggy game, but I do like a guy here in Trey Tucker at 3.6K. I think he's one of the better wide receiver values on the slate. really like Trey Tucker, and I really like Brock Bowers at 5.6K. If you're spending up a tight end this week, I think, Brock Bowers, Dallas Goedert, those are the guys that you want to target here. If you're playing cash, you could definitely get to a Brock Bowers, no Devontae Adams, just him, Dallas Goedert, just going to have the team to himself. So really like Brock, really like Trey Tucker. Don't really have interest in the stacks. Don't like Zamir White. And that's about it. So cash games in this game, nothing on the Cleveland side. And I think, you can get to, I think if Trey Tucker's a good value. Like, I think, like guys like Trey Tucker, Mingo, punt wide receivers are good values this week for cash. And Brock Bowers, him or Dallas Goedert if you're spending up for cash this week. And then, we went over those punts, the punts being, Higgins, who else? Zach Ertz, Tommy Tremble, those type guys if you need punts. Alrighty. Let's, like I said, go over cash. So I think, Jaden Daniels is the cash quarterback that stands out to me the most right now. But of course, there's other guys in play, right? Kyler Murray, of course, is in play. Always in play every single week just due to the rushing upside. Really good matchup up against Washington as well. If you have the money for Kyler, I would prefer Kyler over Jaden, but you can't go wrong with either. I think both look phenomenal. And then, I did mention Justin Fields. It's either Kyler, Jaden Daniels, or Justin Fields for me. I'm not really considering anyone else for cash. Those three are the three guys for me. All right. Sorry, guys. My throat is just really, really messing with me. As far as running back goes this week, we kind of went over when we were going over the breakdown, but I think a lot of people are going to start their builds with like something like this, like a Najee Harris, maybe like a Breece Hall. I think, and a Jordan Mason, maybe something like that. I haven't messed with builds. Like I said, if you have the money, I think people are going to start with something like that. Or, instead of like a Breece, like a Najee, like Brian Robinson, and like a Chuba Hubbard. If you're spending down, you're definitely going to want to spend down at running back this week, kind of. But I think these are the main guys that I'm targeting, like Najee Harris, like I said, Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, Brian Robinson, Chuba Hubbard. Am I missing anyone else? I don't think Kyron's in play. I think that's it. Don't know if I go to Zach Moss. I think those are the main guys. Like 6-7 running backs I'm really considering for cash this week. As far as wide receiver goes, lock buttoning Deontay Johnson. And then I think, Nico Collins is going to be close to a must for me with no Tank Dell going up against the Jaguars. But you have so many other options. You have Rashee Rice. You have those value plays we talked about. Trey Tucker, Jonathan Mingo, I think are good in cash. I'll be wary about how many Panthers you do play in cash this week, though. Like, I don't know if I'd play 3 or 4, but you can certainly play 2. I think, other wide receivers are in play. I think your 2 best are Deontay Johnson, Nico Collins. But let's scroll through the list. Of course, Rashee Rice. There's Nico there. I would argue Chris Godwin is in play for cash, although I don't think he'll get any ownership. Really nothing at the top. I think it's more stars and scrubs at wide receiver. Yeah, it's pretty gross. Pretty gross. Yeah, Deontay, Rashee Rice, Nico Collins, Trey Tucker. Could consider Jamar Chase, I guess. Garrett Wilson's always in play, but I'm not going to go there. Chris Godwin, like I said, even though I don't think he'll get played, you can kind of tell what roster construction is going to be this week. You could argue McLaurin in play. Darnell Mooney, like I said, is one of the better values. He's a really good punt in cash if you need it. There's Trey Tucker right there. There's Jonathan Mingo. And that's it. Let's move on to tight end. Yeah, I think it's whatever fits your build. So like if you have the money to spend up for a Bowers, spend up for a Bowers. If you don't have the money for Bowers, but you still have enough to spend up for a Goddard, spend up for a Goddard. If you're going with a punt, you know, you have guys like Higgins with Trey McBride out. So kind of get where we're going for cash this week. It's going to be more of like a mid-range type build with like some punts at wide receiver. Maybe you're spending up a tight end, or you're spending down a tight end. You're spending up and like spending up at wide receiver with a mid-range, spending up at one running back, spending down at running backs, like kind of flipping and flopping. It's gonna be a weird week, but hopefully you guys had a great night. As always, I will talk to y'all in the next video.